Have you noticed that everything around you seems to be getting more expensive? It's not just your imagination. For instance, last year, the price of gas in the United States increased by 58%, and the cost of beef rose by 21%. This trend of rising prices is not limited to just these items. From your morning coffee to your monthly bills, it seems like everything is becoming pricier, and it's taking a toll on our wallets. But for peace of mind, wouldn't it be helpful to understand the factors behind this surge? So let's dive in and explore the reasons behind the rising prices. First up is inflation. You've probably heard this term thrown around more than you'd like. Essentially, inflation is when the price of goods and services increases over time, affecting everything from your morning coffee to your monthly mortgage. Next, we have government regulation. New laws and regulations can indirectly contribute to inflation. For example, tariffs can make it more expensive to import goods, and these costs are often passed on to you, the consumer. Then there's the exchange rate. If the value of the dollar drops compared to other currencies, imported goods can become more expensive. This can then contribute to inflation, pushing up prices even further. Another factor that might not seem immediately obvious is national debt. While it might not directly cause prices to rise, the ripple effects can be felt in your wallet. For instance, to manage high levels of debt, the government might choose to raise taxes or print more money, both of which can lead to higher prices. Speaking of printing more money, expanding the money supply can also contribute to inflation. More money in the economy can devalue the currency, pushing up the cost of goods and services. Similarly, rising wages can increase demand, leading manufacturers to raise their prices. Ever heard of shrinkflation? It's when companies reduce the size of their products but keep the price the same. It's a sneaky way to raise prices without you even noticing. And let's not forget about demand pull and cost push inflation. These occur when there's increased demand or increased production costs, respectively. Additionally, inflation can even be imported from other countries if global prices increase. National debt might not seem like a direct factor, but its ripple effect can cause price hikes by forcing the government to increase taxes or print more money. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of the complex factors contributing to rising prices. Now, aren't you glad you stuck around? Speaking of printing more money, an expanded money supply can take a toll on the value of money and consequently the cost of goods and services. Let me break it down. When the money supply expands, there's more money chasing the same amount of goods. This can dilute the value of money, leading to higher prices. Now let's talk about wages. Rising wages are generally a good thing, right? Well, not always. When wages increase, people have more money to spend. This can push up demand, forcing manufacturers to increase their prices. Moving on to a sneakier tactic, shrinkflation. This is when companies reduce the size of their products but keep the price the same. You're essentially paying more for less. Then we have hoarding. This is when people or companies hold on to goods, creating an artificial scarcity. This scarcity can drive up prices. Last but not least, let's look at imported inflation. This is when price increases in one country can lead to price increases in another. For example, if the price of oil increases globally, it can cause prices to rise in your country too. So there you have it. Expanded money supply, rising wages, shrinkflation, hoarding, and imported inflation are actors that can contribute to rising prices. Even imported inflation from global price increases can hit your country's prices. So there you have it. Those are some of the reasons theorized behind everything seeming more and more expensive. We've delved into a plethora of factors, from inflation and government regulation to changes in exchange rates and national debt. We've also explored the effects of an expanded money supply, rising wages, crafty shrinkflation, hoarding, and even imported inflation. All these elements can play a role in the rising costs of goods and services affecting our everyday lives. Even though we can't single-handedly tackle these economic forces, understanding them can help us better navigate these financially challenging times. Perhaps you've developed your own strategies to cope with these increases, or maybe you've observed other factors at play. Join the conversation with the hashtag inflation. For more insightful videos, don't forget to check out, share, and subscribe to Eskimos.